let's go ahead and get into this topic. It should be quick, should be pretty painless. If you are a Disney Plus subscriber, you're going to be paying a lot more, apparently. But I noticed
Nearly double.
I noticed something about this that it's
Oh, it is
not
double.
it's not presented in the argument, but at least what I don't think is obvious. And then it's going to circle into one of the topics that I love to preach on. But let's look at the price so far. Let's look at this for what it is. This is an update to the price of buying a Disney Plus subscription. It says the old price was $79.99, and the new price is going to be, well, we'll say $80 and $160. So like you said, twice. There's something that I don't like about what is being presented here. I want to give you an opportunity to just maybe guess if you know what that is.
I just noticed as you brought this up, the line to agree to the new price by November 18th to keep your subscription active. Um, but I don't actually, I would have no clue what you're could possibly be talking
Sure.
about.
If it is this easy to agree to the new price, it should be this easy to say no.
Oh, yeah, it's very difficult to a lot of services nowadays. I'm not sure about Disney Plus because I've never had it, about how to cancel their subscriptions, stuff like that. Because there have been multiple times I've subscribed to something and then try to go in and get rid of it, and it's just how to get rid of it is buried under multiple clicks,
Mm-hmm.
as well as you know, it's just not very apparent on how to do it. And there's even some that required you to send an email, and it takes between 7 to 14 days to process, and then which you would get charged again. So yeah,
Yep.
there's a lot of consumer.
This goes back to
How do you
consumer
say?
rights. It's consumer rights.
Yeah, yeah,
This ties directly into Louis Rossmann and part of the the right to repair. Like the entire concept of consumer rights has been obliterated, and I think this is a very good example because most people would see this and they just bitch about the price. But even just you looking at it, you're like, oh wait, no, like if I can click a button that says I'm going to pay you twice as much money, I need to have a button next to it that says I don't want to pay this. Are there there's other options or cancel my service.
yeah.
I feel like even though you have to take extra steps, that's not the same. They're making it easier and convenient for you to keep going, but they're taking time for you to say no. Say, no, I don't support this. I don't want to spend this money, but now I need to do these extra steps. I simply cannot get behind something like that.
Well, to the credit, I mean, whether or not it's actually going to occur this way or not, it says you have to agree in order to keep the subscription active. So if you don't agree to it, by the wording in this email, it would insinuate that it will automatically end.
I can accept that.
So
Yeah.
the only difference is that not everyone's going to check their email. So one of these days, or when this occurs and their subscription becomes inactive, they're going to try to log in to Disney Plus, and all of a sudden they don't have their login, or it's not active anymore. They don't know what's going on because people aren't habitually looking at their email. Some people aren't.
They'll just
So I
be
mean that,
shocked by the price increase.
yeah. So I mean, if Disney Plus or Disney didn't have the automatic subscription fall off, they would be liable for a lawsuit for sure. But so I think if they could get away with it, they would have just allowed it to continue and then charged you double. But because, to their credit at least, they are canceling it or ending the subscription, unless you agree to it. So, but
That's
the fact
fair.
that, like you said, just that one single button, agree to this price, and then I suspect that that's all you have to do, and then it would just update their system, and you don't actually have to go through and um, read or go through an actual legal document of some sort, an
Right.
initial here or there or
It's
something
it's
like
like
that.
you're
Yeah,
automatically agreeing to the new terms of service or something. It's like
Yeah.
if that button does represent that, hey, you're just agreeing to all of this stuff, it does represent the example that I'm trying to convey. But I will also
Yeah.
acknowledge that the take that I presented was not including the subscription being just going inactive. So
Yeah.
100% good to call me on that, just because that was something that I didn't address.
Yep.
Awesome. But I guess Disney is making some changes though. We know that they're doing this new. They're gonna to put it. They're making a white princess or something. I think they're trying to unwokeify, or I think they're trying to. I don't know. It's some.
They're taking a couple steps back at least, but the problem is, in my view, is that they're taking a couple steps back to try to entice people to come back, and then they're just going to start walking forward again
Exactly.
in their same thing.
Exactly.
So, but it's interesting that they are doubling the price. This just goes to show exactly how bad Disney has it right now, because they don't have any other option but to dramatically increase the price in order to stay as a company, at least in their current form, because they just don't have the massive amount of subscriptions like they did when, first within the first year of them starting this.
When the buzz
So,
was surrounding it, but the buzz for Disney was always about the classics that they created, the memories that they created with families. But the last decade of stuff that they've put out, most of it's been subpar or just completely crap.
pushing an agenda.
But
Or anything else is pushing an
I
agenda.
guess what
So,
I don't understand is if they're doubling the price, that's not going to incentivize new people to pay for it, right? But that's also going to disincentivize people that already have it to not want to spend the extra money.
well, there's two, well, think of it from this direction. Um, Even if they were to lose half of the people, they won't be losing money. But there's still enough people out there, predominantly women, who love Disney, who are Disney adults, as I don't know if that's the term that they use,
I know some. Yeah,
um,
I know some.
that would still be willing to pay this because they want to support Disney because of whatever else. So I suspect that they are banking on most of those individuals to continue their service, and based upon their own market analysis, they believe that they could possibly keep half, if not over or a little over half. So in the end, they may actually get a net increase in funds, even if 40% of the current users decide to bail out.
Well, I also don't think that
So
that's really part of the main money making model. I think that's just an advertisement arm for the parks and the rest of their brand. I think that they can get away with asking for something like this just because of brand recognition.
yes, yes, that's
Outside of brand
essentially what I'm
recognition,
saying.
I don't think that this would ever fly. But
Oh,
so
agreed.
it was $80 for a year before. Now it's $160. That's still 15, 17, less than $15 a month, right?
Yeah.
That's not. I mean, that's like Netflix. That doesn't seem, I guess, unreasonable. If it was like $7 or $8 before, I guess. But I guess 15 doesn't seem like it's unreasonable to ask. But when it's presented in this way, it dissuades me from wanting to say, "Oh, I don't want to spend that much money on it," because like maybe that's part of or maybe that's part of like the marketing of things. Hey, like you're only paying $15 a month, so you don't calculate the annual cost of it. And you see the bigger number. I don't want to spend $500 on this. It doesn't mean that much to me. I watch one show a week. But if it's like, oh, it's just $15 a month, like no big deal.
Yeah, and the fact that they didn't actually put that in the email, that they just had the bigger number. Because typically, I mean, that I actually ended up seeing something this week, sometime on X, about how um, the differences between what is the terms they used? Basically, how instead of saying like specifically talking about the recent pandemic, the increase of effectiveness where it had like a point 0 or 0.1% increase in or one it was like a 0.1 decrease in the probability of actually contracting the disease. But they talked about it in the percentage wise. It increased your probability of not getting it by, 100%, type of thing, which is disingenuous, which isn't actually telling the truth, but it's more, it's better to sell and it's better optics if you use a bigger number for something positive and a smaller number for something negative. So it's just kind of interesting that they didn't try to do that kind of approach and say like, hey, we're increasing it from 7.99 to
Hmm.
$15 a month or whatever it is. So it's interesting that they just threw it out there.
Do you think maybe this is a result of a monthly subscription model not really working out anymore? Do you think maybe how people are consuming and engaging with things is
Oh,
different?
possibly. And at the same time, though, if you sign up for a year, you're locked into that year.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure there's no
Like a contract.
way to cancel it
Yeah.
early to get any kind of reimbursement or anything else. So yeah, refund. So yeah, it's a interesting. So are they, if are they completely walking away from the monthly subscription and only doing year? Because that kind of looks like what this is.
I
Because
do
they
not
didn't mention anything
know.
about the monthly.
I do not know that. I would suspect that is not the case. I think that just due to convenience that it still exists and this may just be one representation. I like to me, if I was to accept this information as accurate and true presented on the screen, this would be from someone who already has an existing 1 year account, not someone who subscribes on a monthly basis.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
That makes sense.
I definitely see the possibility for it.
I mean, there are a lot of other models that are being done, but not necessarily. It's still considered outside the entertainment industry, such as I think the Adobe doing their very anti-consumer practices with their canceling of like the ridiculously high cancellation fees that they have.
I mean,
So,
the
yeah.
Creative Cloud, Adobe Creative Cloud.
Oh God, I don't want to get started on that, but yeah.
Yeah, the
Well,
Adobe is its
yeah.
whole own mess.
Yeah, I don't. Honestly, I mean, not to make any predictions here, but I don't think Adobe is going to be around in the next decade. I think they actually are going to go under because they're just people are walking away from them. There's so many other better programs that are basically free that you can get nowadays.
Yeah.
Adobe is just not
Well,
going to be around much longer.
I would say Blender is the one that first comes to mind, and then as far as for drawing, there's Krita. There's even some other very cheap programs, like a couple of dollars, $20, one time purchase of more money, and you spend less than you would spend on any of the Adobe products.
Hmm.
I used to love Adobe, like CS5, CS6 was all about that. But once it became the 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 cloud,
Subscription.
yeah, the cloud subscription model, it's like I used to have access to all of this stuff and I never needed 90% of most of it, but there's every once in a while I needed just that one tool and I shouldn't have to go buy something else just to do that. And I understand why they did it, because it was to increase profitability. They're saying, hey, what products do we currently have that we can reposition how they're presented to sell? Just kind of how like we talked in just like the opener of the show today. Um, just a different way to present information.
Yep.
And it's a business making a different way to try to produce money. Not, I mean, it's easy to look at stuff and say, oh, they're evil, but a business is going to do what's good for a business. If we don't like it, well, then we need to make sure that we're creating value in things that they want to produce and promote. If we don't do that,
Yep.
then you don't really have much to complain about.
Pretty much.
Speaking of, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe.
Yeah, it really helps us boost us in the algorithm.